Inside the Game is back live across your airwaves, Roku TV, YouTube, wherever you're watching today on this Monday, episode 250, halfway to 500 episodes here on Inside the Game. Nate Wangler, Ryan Glinsky, Detroit, Grand Rapids, and live from the Sunshine State, joining us bright and early today, Liam Fox from Sporting Jacks, getting ready for their first season in the USL Championship. Coach, welcome on.
Morning, guys. Morning. Thanks for having me on.
There's a lot of things I'm sure we could open up this conversation with. I think the thing we're most excited about, you guys in your first year in the USL Championship, and obviously you getting an opportunity to lead that club. To start off with a general question, how are things going as you guys build up to getting that start underway?
Yeah, listen, we're progressing. There's been some challenges in pre-season, as you guys can probably imagine. A startup franchise, startup club. So there has been some speed bumps along the way. We've had some real issues with getting some visa issues, which I'm sure a lot of the clubs, and having spoken to a lot of the coaches in the USL, they've had the same issues. So that's been a wee bit frustrating from my point of view. But we're 2 games in. We were disappointed with our first performance. Not so much the performance. We were disappointed with our result against Hartford, but we were just off the back of a really good point up at Rhode Island, which is a tough place to go. And the group's coming together, and we're learning about each other every single day, and we're progressing, and we're working towards the team that we want to be. So, listen. Every coach always wants more time and wants everybody available and stuff like that. So that's nothing new. But we're pleased where we're at, and we know we've got some more levels to hit, which is keeping everybody motivated and pushing to improve.
How did you end up at Sporting Jacks?
Good question, actually. So I spoke to Mark Warburton probably around May time. Through I worked with a player called Lee Wallace, who, when I had my last spell at Hearts, he was my assistant. He played for Mark Warburton years ago at Rangers and at Queen's Park Rangers. So we had a conversation, and then we spoke again probably around September time, and things started to move quite quickly then. Went through the interview process for the role. And fortunately for me, they decided that I was the guy that was going to be given the opportunity. So, it moved quite quickly. It moved over sort of 2 week block, which again was really interesting. It was just a fantastic opportunity. There's some really good people here, and like I say, I'm enjoying every minute of it.
We talk about some of the hot spots for this game in the United States. Florida is certainly one of them. What was most exciting about joining Sporting Jacks in your mind? What was most exciting about the opportunity?
I think it's probably the uniqueness of the opportunity. Obviously, coming from the UK and coming from Scotland, you don't get the opportunity to build something from the ground up. The 2 previous clubs that I've at have nearly got 150 years worth of history each. So this is like stuff that an opportunity that doesn't come very often back home in the UK. So to be able to get in at the foundation level and try and build and create a culture that you want is hugely exciting, hugely challenging, but it's like a blank canvas. So it's a really unique opportunity, and one that I really couldn't say no to when the opportunity was presented to me.
What are a couple of the you mentioned one of the challenges with the visas, but what is a couple other challenges that you faced with trying to get this squad together and be prepared for your first season?
Yeah, so I'm really clear in how I see the game and how I want the team to function. So that kind of made things a wee bit easier because I've got real clarity in my mind and on what I need and the pieces of the puzzle that I want to put together. But again, when you're coming into a new environment, a new league, and obviously I've never experienced the USL before. I've watched a lot of games. I've had friends and coaches that have worked here before, but you can watch a lot of film and you can watch a lot of players, but it's not until you actually get in the building with people and see how they are every day. So that's been a challenge, but that was always going to be a challenge. The weather, the climate has been different as well. So having to train earlier because of the humidity and the heat.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
All right. How are you? I
Oh,
all right. Hey, we're gonna try to get Liam Fox back on as soon as possible. I'm not sure who that was. I'm not sure if that was an athlete, or maybe
that,
somebody else who was
okay,
associated with the
Liam's
team.
back.
So
Liam's back.
he
There we
is
go.
back.
There we
Okay.
go.
All right.
Okay.
Back. Apologies. Yeah, so
Yes.
listen, loads of challenges, but loads and loads of things that have been really, really good. New stadiums, new players, new environment, new culture. So these have all been really, really, really positive for me.
We always talk about, especially with a lot of the managers that we've chatted with, most of them came up in the European game or the European school of thought. A lot of their career was spent over there, or they coached over there and then they came here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just always an interesting question. It might be a general question, and there might be a lot of layers to this. What's the biggest difference in the game that over there, and what are you trying to bring here to the U.S. through what you're doing as a manager?
Yeah, I think it's probably quite a difficult question for me to answer because we're only really I'm only 2 games in, so I would like
that's
to be
fair.
a bit
Yep.
more. I would like to be a wee bit more sort of have a bit more time and a wee bit more experience before I can jump into that. But I think I probably when your second part of your question about what you bring is I think everywhere you go and every experience you have, it shapes you, it molds you. You can have good experiences and bad experiences. These things all, I feel, if you look at them the right way, improve you as a coach or as a leader. So I've had some good experiences in my career. I've had some difficult experiences, but that makes you who you are today. And as long as you're clear and as long as you can communicate with your players about what you expect and what you want, I think that's a good starting point. So communication and clarity are really, really important to me.
I mean, to that point too, you've learned from a lot of great, esteemed figures in Scottish soccer throughout the course of your career, and a lot of other influential figures as well that have helped you get to this point. Who's had the biggest impact on your career, in your opinion?
Yeah, again, like I think I've always been somebody that likes to take things from everywhere and every walk of life, and not just in soccer. And so I think there's no real standout. I think I hope that I've tried to take good bits from everybody, and you can learn from people by maybe things that they do that you think, you know what, that probably doesn't fit me. It's not how I see it. So I think you've got to be humble enough to learn from in every walk of life. Do you know what I mean? And I'm still learning every single day. I'm still learning from different people and different life. And obviously, my parents have been a huge influence on me. My mother and father, and but everybody that I've worked with, I've tried to take something from them, positive, and use it, and then you need to adapt it to every situation that you're in. There's no sort of one rule fits all, so you've got to be flexible and adaptable,
Right.
but still stick to your principles and your core beliefs.
A lot of soccer teams around this world very community oriented. A lot of backing from the fans. Obviously, Sporting Jack's first season, you guys might not have that community, might not have that fan base yet. Are there any things? Are there any certain community things that you guys are doing this season, or maybe even in the off season or leading up to this season, to try to get that fan base, try to start building that fan base and that community?
Yeah, well, I think one of the huge positives for us is that our first home game last week had 10,500 people there. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So that, uh,
Whew.
yeah, so there's 10,500 people there,
Yeah.
which was absolutely incredible for everybody. Listen, my disappointment was that we couldn't win the game to give them something to cheer about and shout about. But that is soccer. You can never promise you're going to win, no matter what. So listen, we've been in and about the community. We're going to be even more doing even more stuff in the community. Players are going to be out to all different schools, etc., colleges and stuff like that. About just, I think one of the messages that I would like to get across to, and I did get this across in my interview process, was that we want to give the people of Jacksonville something to be proud of and something to look forward to coming to watch, and trying to create that sort of connection with the community. So that's hugely important to me. It's hugely important to everybody at the club, and that's a process that's ongoing.
And of course, the way to create a consistent winner, and you know this, is to have a good academy side. And I think every USL club is trying to find a way to develop the best way they know how and develop their way. What's your strategy when it comes to building the academy to kind of create that sustained success that you want to see?
Yeah, well, there's been some changes over the academy over the past wee bit, and we've actually got 10,000 players in our academy. So there's a
Wow.
huge pool of talent and a huge pool of boys and girls as well. I will add boys and girls. So I think there's nothing better when you're a local homegrown player and you go on to play for your local club. I think it's fantastic. It's also inspiring for other people and other generations and other kids coming through. So it's something that we're hugely focused on, and it's not one of these things that you can just click your fingers and it's going to get done. And there's going to be a process to that, and there's going to be we need to make sure we've got the right people and the right roles. But with 10,000 kids, there's a big pool there. So it's about maximising what we've got and getting the very, very best out of it, so that hopefully, maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, maybe even sooner, depending, who knows, that we have a bunch of boys and girls playing for the first team, which would be absolutely fantastic. And that's always the end game of any youth development, is getting players to the final point of the first team.
Coach, before I get in my question, I noticed something. You are playing DCFC, Detroit City FC, on April 11th at Keyworth Stadium. I just want to let you know, I don't know if you've ever seen the stadium. I don't know if you've ever been there. The touchline, if you were to sit down and you were to stretch your legs, you would be on the field. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. The stadium,
I'm aware.
it's quite old.
Yeah.
Even the
You could
changing
get a
room,
red
I'm sure
card
you're
sitting
gonna
in
be
your
like-
seat, in other words.
You're gonna be like, wow, I was doing this better on this changing room is better than or is worse than a Sunday league changing room. I just want to make sure that you're just a little bit aware of that when you come to
Yeah,
Detroit
listen,
here
I'm
on
aware.
April 11th.
Yeah, I'm aware. I've seen it. I've watched it. I've watched a lot of Detroit. Danny Dickey was doing a great job there. So again, it's all part of a different culture, a different environment. For me, going to visit new stadiums and stuff like this, it's all part of the journey. It's all part of the learning. And listen, these types of things don't bother me, so it's no problem to me at all.
Is there a sort of a romantic field playing in smaller venues in like historical towns? I'm just curious because you've played in so many different places throughout the course of your career.
Yeah.
Is there a sort of charm to playing in a smaller venue but a loud one?
Yeah, I think it's just another experience, and that's just another challenge that you just need to overcome. Listen, everybody wants to play in. Ask any player, they want to play in 60,000 seater nice stadiums, but that's not the reality.
Yeah.
The reality of where we're at
Yeah.
and what we're doing is you need to go to these places, and ultimately you want to be a team that wins. So you've got to overcome all these different, whether it be the pitch size, whether it be grass, whether it be AstroTurf, whether it be an older stadium or a brand new stadium. This is just part of the game. It's just part of who we're trying to be, and it's just another obstacle in your way to try and be a successful winning soccer team.
How was recruitment this year for you guys? Like, you guys, I don't know, you can't really sell anything on what you guys have done previously, but when you were trying to recruit a couple of players, what was kind of the message that you were harping to them?
Yeah, again, I think it comes back to that clarity and the clarity and how I wanted the team to function. So people have said to me previously, oh, you had to recruit 24, 25 players. And some people maybe get a wee bit stressed by that and find that quite difficult. I actually thought it was a brilliant opportunity, because you get to, like you say, because I had the clarity in my mind of what I was looking for in specific positions and how I wanted the team to function. So for example, I needed a fullback that could do A, B, and C. Now, you might not always get a fullback that can do A, B, and C, but you need to try and get as close to the profile that you're looking for, so that, again, the bits of the puzzle fit together. And again, it was about, your point's very valid. Like, what can you sell somebody when you don't have anything? So I was trying to sell them to imagine 6 months down the line, this is how I see you playing, and this is how I see you fitting into the group, and this is how I want the team to function, and these are going to be our core beliefs, and these are going to be the things that are not going to change no matter what. So probably came down to me being able to communicate my message, and Mark Warburton joining the dots and all that, and making sure that we were really, really clear in the plan moving forward. again, you've always got to be adjustable, and you've got to be able to come and go a wee bit on certain things. But ultimately, it's about me being really, really clear on how I see the team functioning.
And recruiting is certainly unique too because of just the scope of it. I think about, certain sports here in the US, you think of hockey. I mean, you go to Minnesota or Wisconsin, you're probably going to find your best players. Certain sports, certain areas of the country, soccer's a little bit different because, I mean, it's played all over the globe. So there's a lot of different places you can look at. But I wanted to focus on Florida very quickly because of just the sheer amount of players you said you have in your academy, 10,000 players, which is a lot.
Yeah.
When it comes to recruiting, how much of a focus is the state of Florida exclusively for you guys in trying to find that next wave of talent?
Again, difficult for me because it's my first year. So it was more about making sure that we had the right fit for what I was looking for. And I think over time, closer to home always helps, the climate. And also what's important is that I always feel like you want somebody with a connection to the area as well, which becomes important. Does that make sense? Like, you want people that are
absolutely,
that are familiar, and if you have, we've got a couple here, like we signed Ethan Dudley, who's a local guy. We've got who lives and breathes Florida and loves it, and he's just so happy to be here every single day, and that's really, really important because he's a brilliant human being. He also adds value on the pitch as well as off the pitch, and he understands it and he gets it, and there's a connection to the local people. And it probably goes back to what I said earlier about maybe in time we can have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids from our academy here, and they get it. They understand the club, they understand the culture, they understand these types of things, and then they can pass that. They can almost pass the baton on to the next sort of group. So that's the idea. That's the plan. Not going to happen overnight, but it's a long-term thinking towards it.
Coach, I think you should, as long as you're not a college football head coach in the NIL world and spending $10 million on a couple of 18-year-olds, I'm glad you don't have to do that, myself included, down in Florida. But last question here. Obviously, World Cup is under 90 days away here. Here at the National Soccer Network, we do a countdown. So every single day there's a new moment in World Cup history. I think we're at 88 now, 87, something like that. But in your eyes, what is the best World Cup moment that you've ever seen?
Ooh, good question. That, I think this may not be the best World Cup moment, but it's one of my very first memories of football, and especially the World Cup, was Italia 90. And Toto Scalacci scoring all those goals and his celebration. And I think that for me is iconic for me because I can remember sitting at home watching it with my dad, and it's a really, really good memory for me, and it's something that sticks in my mind. So that's probably more of a personal memory than anything else, but that's the one that jumped out to my mind as soon as you guys asked the question there. So Toto Scalacci's goal celebration at Italia 90.
Is there a rivalry with like England and Ireland and all those with Scotland? Like, are you guys massive rivals with all that kind of like UK countries?
Yeah. I'm probably better not go too deep.
I think you answered it. Yeah.
Listen, there's a respect, but probably goes back to a few years ago, a long time ago, when Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales were. It goes deep and it goes far. So from my point of view, I'm just over the moon that Scotland have made the World Cup. It's been a long time for us as a nation, so we're delighted to be there. I'm sure you guys are fully aware that we'll bring a ton load of supporters. There'll be a lot of beer will be drank. There'll be some noise, and we'll bring some colour. So hopefully we'll be a good addition, and we'll just enjoy it for getting there.
As long as England doesn't
win the World
Cup, I'm fine.
And for what it's worth, if you beat the brakes off of England, we'll be cheering for you as well. We'll be right there with you. So we're all Scottish in that situation. So
I didn't want to say that, but I'll do that. I'll do that.
That's awesome. We appreciate you stopping by, and good luck with the rest of the season, Liam.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thanks, Liam.
Yes, sir. Liam Fox on Inside the Game. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, he isn't lying. I mean,
I'm glad
I'd
someone
be
else
right
doesn't
there
like
with
England.
him.
I'm glad someone else doesn't like it.
It's so because he answered your question without answering your question. That was my favorite part ever, because I know what he
Yeah.
was trying to do. He was trying to keep it as correct, as politically correct as humanly possible. So the smile and nod was just like,
It'd be like
yeah, I mean,
it'd be like to
what.
ask Jim Harbaugh, do you like now with the Chargers? Do you like Ohio State? Like and he'd be like, nah, even though I'm not a part of it.
No, we don't have to dive into all the specifics, but no, we don't like those guys. But I mean, that's the thing that makes it different. There's a long history there between those two countries. But Liam Fox, good stuff. I'm going to continue those interviews, obviously, into the regular season. But coming up next here in hour number 1, talk a little Premier League. Our good friend Ryan was jumping up and down, jumping off the walls yesterday, and I got to see that video a little bit. Max Dauman is a freak. He is a freak of nature. We're also going to check in on Major League Soccer and also the Leonard Prescott situation, taking over for Bayern, all that coming up. Speaking of Bayern, by the way, we got something to tell you about, and that's their summer soccer camps. Proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America, open to boys and girls of all skill levels. FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path, and right now save $30 on registration by using promo code Bayern NSN30. Again, that's Bayern NSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at fcbayernyouth.com.
America's oldest soccer tournament, the most fabled Giant Killers, for the first time ever in Genesee County. Your Flint City Bucks host Wisconsin professional club Forward Madison FC in the first round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Kickoff is 6:30 p.m. Thursday, March 19th at Don Batchelor Stadium in downtown Grand Blanc. Be part of history as the winner moves one step closer to a Major League Soccer matchup. Tickets are on sale now at flintcitybucks.com. Flint City Bucks, the future of MLS.
We're back in live here on Inside the Game. Nate Wangler and Ryan Glinsky. Great conversation with Liam Fox from Sporting Jacks as we move into the second part of our conversation here in hour number 1. And sometimes on this show, what we'll do is we'll just set the stage and just allow the other person to have their opportunity to air out the room a little bit. And so that's what we're going to do here in topic number 2. Arsenal picking up some points that they needed. Ryan was pumped up yesterday. Also, well, you see the line at the bottom of the screen there. He's got some pretty strong words and a pretty bold take on the way. Ryan, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah. So Saturday was unbelievable because I got to see this all happen in like 20 minutes. I get to see Yaxel Lenneborg's 3-pointer against Wisconsin, send the Badgers home.
Yeah.
And he knocks that thing down. And then what is it? Then I flip back to the Arsenal game. 20 minutes to go, 0-0. Who comes on? Max Dauman. I'm like, all right, this is really a big roll of the dice here, Mikal. We're putting our hands in the 16-year-old right now.
Ooh.
And
Yeah. Not
the
that's
way
bold.
this kid glides with the ball, it's unreal. I'll get to the Lamine Yamal part here in a second. But this kid is unreal. The way his confidence is insane, man. Like a 16-year-old should not be taking defenders on the way he is. It just shouldn't. That's just not the way it should. And am I probably going a little bit over the top with Lamine Yamal comparison? Maybe, but I mean, if we're looking on the history of how Lamine Yamal got going and the way he plays and the age, I mean, I'm not far off. And when you have arguably one of the best English center backs of all time saying he's Messi, I ain't far off. But anyway, so he comes into the game, looks really lively the whole way, but we just can't break Everton down. And they're without their 2 starting center backs, which I thought, man, we were probably going to win this game 3-0. No, it's not the case. But Dauman puts the ball in, Gyökeres taps it in, horrible mistake by Pickford, and then Dauman just to capitalize it, ends it off. Massive 3 points. But then, a couple hours later, Man City drops points again. So it was 10 points clear. I was correct on, I know a couple people are like, it's 9 now, it's 9. And I go, yes, it is 9, but at the moment of the video, it was 10. I was fully expecting us to be 7 points clear at this moment in time because I thought Man City would take care of West Ham, but that is not the case. They decided to choke, and Arsenal legend Mavropanos gets the equalizer for West Ham. And it just feels, Nate, like this is going to be the year. Like it's starting to feel this way. And there's 7 games to go. And Man City does have a game in hand. But it just feels like this is going to be the year, Nate. It really does. The way that game played on Saturday and the way the Man City game went on Saturday, it just feels like this is just meant to be. However, there's one massive roadblock, I think, in the way. If we win on Saturday or Sunday, Carabao Cup final, I think if we win that, I think we're for sure winning the league. If we don't, I think things could go potentially sideways. Why? Why do I say this? Well, Cup final, you're playing against a team that you can't beat for 3-4 years now. In terms of Man City, you just can't get over that hump. But if you do that, and then that gives you the belief that you can beat this team in a Cup final, you can win a trophy. And ultimately, you doing this, everyone talks about it in England, is you take the trophy and you go up like this, and you raise it. It gives like this edge that no one else can get because you have this edge and this mental capacity of, oh, wait, we can do this. We can lift trophies.
Yeah.
But now back to the Max Dauman point.
Yep.
This kid is insane. Started the year off, I think he was the youngest player ever to play in a Premier League game. I don't know if he beat Winieri or Winieri still has the record, another Arsenal player, which we sent on to Marseille on loan.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not far off on this comparison. Max Dauman is 100% the English Lamine Yamal. I'm not far off on this because if we think about it, Yamal did not get his chance until he was 16 with Barcelona. And that is because Barcelona was in a heap of trouble financially, whether that was with their owner, they were in debt, they were building a new stadium, they couldn't sell players, they had to let them go for free. That's why Messi left to go to PSG. And what happens? Lamine Yamal comes in and makes an impact right away at the age of 16. Then he does that for Spain. But he gets to play like the whole season as a 16-year-old. Dauman has just recently turned 16 not too long ago. So he's not. Are you really going to start a 15-year-old in the Premier League? No. And in a year where you're expected to win multiple things? No, that's not the case. But I'm talking next year when he's 16, in a year where I think Martinelli will be offloaded this summer for Arsenal. I think Trossard was already gone regardless because just the age factor. Not that he's a bad player or anything. I think he's going to be offloaded because of the age. You see Martinelli. What does that open up? That's 2 wingers because then you're looking at your other wingers. You're looking at Saka, who's been poor recently. You're looking at Madueke, and you're looking at Eze could play out there, and Yeri can play out there. So what does that leave? It leaves for a 16-year-old that could start and take minutes. I mean, every time this kid comes on, he's even been injured half the year too. But every time he comes on, whether that was Leeds back in August, or whether that was Mansfield Town a couple of weeks ago, whether that was Everton on Saturday, the way this kid glides with the ball, the way this kid gets up and down the field, the audacity he has to take on 2 guys at the same time, like it's unreal. And we can go back to the goal. Well, it was a tap and the goalie wasn't even the net. Yeah, but did we talk about the build up to it? He had to head it down, put it at his feet, get past 2 defenders still, and not lose the ball. That's unheard of for a 16-year-old to make a 75-yard run like that. It's unheard of. This kid is a stud. And for all the people out there that are like, well, he's not Lamine Yamal, you should just back off. You have all these failed wonder kids. Yeah, there's failed wonder kids every single year. But not every single wonder kid is doing that. He doesn't look like that. A 16-year-old should not look like that in the Premier League game, in a game where you need 3 points.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that. And
Mhm.
you guys call me crazy all you want, but I'm sticking to it. I think he's the English Lamine Yamal. I don't care what everyone says.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm
Drinking
right
the
there with you. I'll drink the Kool-Aid. I
As long
think
as it's
this
not the
is
Detroit Lions Kool-Aid.
yeah, and I didn't mean to rock Everton colors today. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to rep the ops, if you will.
No, they're fine.
I'm
as long as it's
I'm
not
100%. Okay, all right, noted. No, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid when it comes to Max Dauman. And you know, the funny thing is, Ryan, we literally had this talk, a handful of days ago about how, you know, the Prem has kind of become stale. The Prem has kind of become, you know, like just the way that the game is played now, the way that the evolution of the game over the last decade plus has brought it to the point to where everybody plays out of the back now, and it's slow and it's methodical. You know, not saying that one player can certainly change the way the game is played. We've seen that in other sports, and he could be that. But I think it's less that. I think it's more the explosiveness that he provides for a team like Arsenal with what he did yesterday. You know, he is a player, and at 16 years old, to be willing to take risks and really, you know, cut through defenders the way that he did and really control the ball. The ball looks like it's attached to him. That's the thing about people, you know, good ball handlers. It seems like it's literally attached to their body. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how, but the strength and the awareness to be able to control it, everything about him is very telling. And so I'm 100% on board with what I think this kid can do. And this is why I think it gives Team of Destiny vibes. Now, I know that, you know, obviously some people are superstitious. They don't want me to say that, but it does give that because this is a great team already without him on the field. They struggled in areas. They've had cold spells, but they're still one of the top teams in the Prem. Now you introduce a 16-year-old that literally, and the Athletic said it this way, turned the stadium into his playground for 23 minutes. And that was true. It was like a kid playing on the playground. That literally the way that he played. And I think that's inspiring to a lot of Arsenal fans because it's almost like it's like that childish joy that like that's why we love watching the game. And he put that on display yesterday. So I think that, you know, not only maybe the future star in the league, I'm sure you could say that, but I mean, every team, every club is looking for their franchise player, if you're, you know, the one that they can really be like, he's our product, he's our guy. And if I'm Arsenal right now, I know it's just one game. And I know that recency bias exists in sports for a reason. Like there's a reason why every time, you know, someone does something good, we're like, they're the king, you know, they're the best ever. I understand it. And there are failed wonder kids every year, but I don't think it's a question of talent. I don't think it's a question of balls. I don't think it's a question of guts or anything else like that when it comes to Max. I think the only question again is injuries or burnout. That's it. That's it. Those are my question marks surrounding him. Everything else is a glowing example of Arsenal got the right kid. And so, you know, is it going to continue? I don't know. I can't make a complete conclusion on what the rest of his career is going to look like and crown him the king off of just 23 minutes. But when you see a 16-year-old turn a pitch full of professionals into just a game of what looks like pickup on the playground, that's pretty telling. That's pretty telling. And I think people are getting a real idea of what exactly he brings. And so, no, it was electric what I saw yesterday. And so you talked about some of the specifics and what it's going to look like moving forward for Arsenal. But no, I mean, if anything, and sometimes I'm the one who's like, I enjoy being the wet towel on hot takes at times. But if we're going to all, you know, jump on this bandwagon and claim that this kid is the future of the club for Arsenal, I don't think, you know, I mean, there's obviously a little bit of doubt because of injuries and time, but he's the truth, Ryan, and you're not lying. He's the truth.
And I want to paint the picture a little bit more for you, Nate. Max still goes to school, so I can only imagine.
Yeah, the Athletic was saying that too. Yeah, he's still a student.
Imagine what it's like for him going to school today. I can only like Like Daniel Sturridge was like, "This is how
That's-
I would walk going into like on set." He's like, "This is how if I was Max, this is how I'm walking going into school." I'm like, "You're not
Yeah,
wrong. Like,
man.
walk in with some of that swagger." But
He doesn't have to do his homework or take tests or anything. I guarantee you,
The-
he's just getting A's the rest
the
of the way.
only
He's
way
good.
he's got to do homework is if his teacher's a Tottenham fan or a Chelsea fan. That's the only way he's
okay,
got to do
alright.
homework. And like, look, Everton wasn't that great anyway. But also to put out there as well, he cannot vote. Can't vote in England. He also cannot drive a car. So this guy can't drive, can't vote, still goes to school, and is
Wait.
playing with millionaires. Like that's
Is it-
just absurd, man. Like
If
that-
it's a
that's
home
just
match,
crazy.
does his mom drop him off?
Has to.
Right?
I didn't read that far, or I don't know if it's
Did
been said,
she-
but she has
She
to.
definitely drops him off at the facility, right? Before
that or he
everything?
takes the public
or his dad,
the
or
public transportation. That's about it.
I mean, I'm just picturing walking away and being like, have a good day, sweetie. Okay, thanks, mom. And then you just turn it.
And then you go
just
play
do what he
with
did
some of the
last
best
night.
players in the world. Like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm getting dropped off by my mom still, but I'm playing with some of the best players
Yep.
in the world, so it's fine.
with his freaking box lunch or whatever he's bringing with him, or I don't know, man. That's
But it's-
that's wild.
It's just crazy to think that like this guy can't vote in what he's doing, and
Mhm.
I'll just say this: like the last point about it all is, some people come on the scene and they immediately take over. Like it's just crazy. And Lamine was one of them. Messi was one of them. Max
Mhm.
Dellman could potentially be one of them. And Mbappe was another one. And his academy coach he was going through the ranks. Like also, mind you, this kid was 13 playing with the U18s. By the way, at Arsenal, he was 13 years old. They also found him at the age of 6. Max Dellman at a regional tournament in England. They found him at the age of 6, and they're like, gotta have him. And it was crazy to think, but I
Yeah.
mean, these clubs still have like under 10s, under 11s, under 12s, so they still go low. So you still have to, find those guys at that young of an age. But his old academy coach, who is now the manager of Norwich, I think, Jack Wilshere, could have been an Arsenal legend, but man, injuries sucked for him. But he said, this is the best thing. He goes, and I know everyone has said it. He goes, if you are good enough, you're old enough. And Mikel has clearly said that. That's a
Yeah,
horrible word. That's not even a real world.
say that.
He said back in the summer when Max Dallman was playing in preseason, the kid was 15. The kid was 15 playing in preseason against some of these big clubs. And Mikel's like, he's fine. He's competing with everyone in training. It's not like he looks lost out there. He looks like he could be a part of the team. And then obviously he made the bench a couple of times at the beginning of the season. He got hurt around September, October time, and really hasn't been healthy until a couple of weeks ago. But this kid is just unreal. And I just like can't fathom yet that Arsenal might have one of those hot prospects that like the Barcelonas typically get, the Real Madrids typically get, the Man Cities typically get. Like, that's just crazy to me to think that. And especially a player, or especially a team that is trying to win so many different things this year. It just adds another dart that we could throw at the dartboard. And if he plays like this a couple more times this season, I mean, God, we going to get Messi levels yet? Or like, is that too early to tell? Because this kid is that kid is insane. I know, one game, 23 minutes of playing time. I get it. But you know what? That was not a 16-year-old. That was like a prime 24, 25-year-old out there.
And I guess if I'm the front office, I'm kind of scrambling now too, because you realize what you have on your hands. And so, especially to naturalize and develop the player too, and to notice him that young. Yeah, the reality is that there's a separator between the greats and everybody else. And typically you can see it really. What, we got a comment?
No,
You got something coming in?
I got curious, and I wanted to check what his contract is right now, without bonuses
Okay.
or anything. Take a guess on how many pounds he makes a week.
3,000, 4,000.
350 pounds a week.
What?
Because he's still technically at scholarship, so he's
yeah. Okay. All right.
so
That's
there's,
fair.
So when you get up higher in the ranks of the academy system, especially in England, this is all I know for England, but I don't know how if the other countries do it a little bit differently. But once you reach a certain age, there's like a cutoff point where it's like, all right, you either get a scholarship and move on into like our under 23s or like academy teams that are like basically a stepping stone for the first team if you get there, or not, they just cut you loose and you got to go find. I shouldn't say they cut you loose, but they're like, you will try to find something for you. They got connections all over the place. But no, he is still technically on scholarship still. He's got 2 more years left on that until he's 18, and then he can sign his first pro contract. Maybe he'll. Wow. I'm sure he'll probably. Okay, I didn't see that. Once he turns 17, his contract will increase to 35,000 pounds a week. After making 350 pounds a week, in less than a year, this kid will be making 35,000 pounds a week. That's insane.
That's the greatest birthday of all time, man. Hell. I mean, if I'm his parents, I'm like,
Max,
buy your own damn presents.
Max, what's your favorite moment?
Yeah.
What's your favorite birthday? Oh, my 17th birthday. Why is that? Because my salary grew by like 200%.
The 16-year-old prodigy Max Dowman coming onto the pitch. He likes to play Xbox in his free time with his friends.
He's a big Fortnite guy. He plays Fortnite on every single night with his buddies.
It's the most interesting thing about him. No, listen, like I said, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. What I saw last night was really impressive. Now again, it has to continue. But certainly something to get excited about if you're Arsenal. Coming up next, though, here in hour number 1 of Inside the Game, we're going to checking in on the MLS Match Day 4. Talk a little bit about that. We're also going to mention the Bayern Munich goalie situation. Bizarre. Leonard Prescott at just 16 years old. Speaking of 16-year-olds getting their opportunity,
yeah, it makes me
American
feel bad in my life.
getting his chance. Yeah.
22,
let's
these kids. 23.
Yeah, wait till you're almost 30, Ryan, okay? Even the guys on Michigan are still 6-7 years younger, but that's all coming up here in hour number 1 on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Getting into our final topic here in hour number 1 on Inside the Game. Welcome into everyone joining us, whether that's on Roku, YouTube, or wherever else you're watching us across the United States or even beyond the U.S. here today. Let's get into our final topic here in hour number 1. Couple of them, but let's check in on Major League Soccer. Ryan's got a rundown for us. Talk a little bit about the MLS here.
Yeah, we lost 2 teams to perfect records this weekend. There's 4 teams with perfect records coming into this weekend, but San Diego FC goes down, or doesn't go down, but they drop points. They tie 3-3 to FC Dallas, which is our first hat trick of the season by Peter Musa. He gets a hat trick against San Diego FC. And then where is the other one? There it is. Seattle Sounders knock off San Jose. They go 1-0. That one yesterday. And then Vancouver and LAFC still remain perfect. I do want to highlight these 2 real quick from yesterday. New England beating Cincinnati 6-1, and everyone thought that was going to be the craziest scoreline of the weekend. And then a couple hours later, Vancouver said, "Hold my beer," and I'm going to beat Minnesota United 6-0. I thought that was pretty funny. Just those two overall. But yeah, just a couple other results. Our good friend Callum Ewing was inside the stadium for the Atlanta United victory over Philadelphia. Seemed like a victory they needed to have. Also, I actually listened this time to Callum's interview with Tata Martino. I think that was his name. Yeah, the old Mexican coach. But there was a translator, and I'm like, what just happened there? Like, I'm listening to Callum ask the question. All of a sudden, all these words, I'm like, oh crap, that's right. He doesn't have he's got to have a translator. So I thought that was rather interesting. But yeah, this is a massive win. It says that they needed it. It was a very slow start, one of the slowest in I don't want to say franchise because it's a club, but at the same time, it's the MLS. They're all franchises, to be completely honest.
A little bit different. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I want to say club, and I want to be like as authentic as possible here because soccer is pretty authentic. But like, nah, man, you gotta say franchise when it comes to this. Like USL, we can say clubs, but like MLS, I just don't think so. Let's see. Oh, Salt Lake City continues to get it done against Austin FC. A debut for Sting Spurrings. 2-1. He was 5 minutes into the game, and he scores the winner for Real Salt Lake. That was something pretty massive to note. But also this week, a couple things. You'll see a couple results that, like Inter Miami, for example, 0-0 draw. A lot of these teams, a lot of the bigger teams played midweek in the CONCACAF Champions League. So they rotated their squads quite a bit, so the results aren't like as, maybe not as traditional as most people think, and some people think about the league. But, a lot of CONCACAF Champions League midweek, that was going on. But, yeah, that is the main takeaways. Oh, and then our good friends at the For the Crew podcast, they fell to Nashville 1-0. And, Nate, I know you got a good point about the legend that is Sebastian Berhalter.
I mean, I don't know if it's as much of a point. I think it's just pointing out something that happened in Major League Soccer that maybe is interesting for U.S. men's national team fans. I was just going to say Vancouver in general. I mean, a 13-plus goal differential, a perfect 4-0 on the year. Obviously, Brian White has been unbelievable. Another brace against Minnesota United and that 6-0 shutout. But yeah, Sebastian Berhalter, 4 assists in 4 matches. Listen, I don't like being an alarmist, and I hate when, one guy does well and all of a sudden we're like, oh, look at this guy. He did something. But he was an all-star last year. He has 4 assists through 4 matches this year. He looked better than serviceable in a U.S. men's national team uniform. All I'm asking is just the questions, right? Is he someone who could be a important piece for this men's national team? I know it's wild to think because we, kind of pictured what our 11 would be, and nowhere on that list is Sebastian Berhalter, but wouldn't be surprised. We've seen Mauricio Pochettino use a lot of MLS guys in the other windows, and obviously in the Gold Cup. Not saying that Gold Cup roster is going to look anywhere close to what we're going to see in the 26 World Cup, but it's just something to talk about. And I just think Vancouver has certainly impressed to begin the year. So, and not a ton of surprises there. I did think Sporting KC's win over LA Galaxy was pretty cool. I caught a little bit of that one, but
I was about to go there next.
But yeah, that is that's a good win for Sporting KC over the Galaxy. And I know it's early in the season, so probably some things that the LA Galaxy have to iron out. But yeah, between Vancouver and that matchup, probably the two that I looked at most heavily. But Berhalter continues to produce. Listen, I know it's just Major League Soccer, but I think sometimes we cut that guy off the list simply because of his last name. I know nepotism's a thing, but Vancouver. Yeah, well, maybe that too. But Vancouver's looked impressive here early in the year.
I was going to mention Sporting Kansas City, that they needed a massive win. Gets their first win. They're rebuilding side. But the fall off of LA Galaxy, man, they used to be a team back in the day, and they've kind of fallen off. I forgot to mention this. I was meaning to mention this, and I just think this is a little bad on either. I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know if it's the MLS's fault. I don't know who. The Inter Miami. I don't know when you have to get your teams in, but everyone. So 35, I think just under 35,000 fans went to the Charlotte Miami game this weekend, and they were not notified until I think an hour and a half to 2 hours beforehand that Messi would get the night off. Even though I'm sure it was probably planned midweek that, yeah, you're not going to play in this game upcoming against Charlotte. And so everyone kept buying tickets, expecting to see the greatest player of all time. But yeah, that just annoys me, Nate. It just does, because when I went to the Thunder game, I mean, granted, I'm kind of a little bit of a hypocrite here because I didn't pay for the ticket, and neither did my dad. We got it through my dad's work, and we were in a suite, so like I sound like.
But still, not every day you get an opportunity to go watch.
Yeah, but
Oklahoma City.
Like, what I'm going to say is
I get it. Yeah.
That sucks for the hardworking person spending their money, even though I spent no money going to the Pistons and Thunder game.
Yeah,
but
so
I guess
gas
there wasn't
counts, right? There
That
wasn't
counts,
any
right?
sort of roster. It does, yeah,
And we got a parking ticket, so that counts too, right?
Especially nowadays.
So
a
$45
park
parking
legally
ticket.
next time.
So that's got to count.
So there
right?
was no roster announcement or anything that Messi wasn't
No, it
going to be.
until
I thought
like
that
an
was
hour,
that's
hour
not
and a half,
standard
2
practice.
hours. I don't think because I don't even think he was on the bench. Like obviously the lineups come out an hour before the game. Like they're always posted on social media. Like that's always expected. But I just don't think there was. I think he was going to have the night off regardless. And dude, why can't I find it? I was trying to find like the little thing there, like of the timeline, but I can't find. Where is it at? Ajimang started. How about that for oh wait, no, that's
Nice.
not. It's not Patrick Ajimang. It's a different Ajimang. I forgot he plays for. Yeah, no, Messi wasn't even on the bench. Messi was not on the bench.
Wow.
No, Suarez was still there. No, Rodrigo DePaul. Yeah, no, that's the worst part is because even if he's not on the bench, like even if you to be honest with you, if you're Miami, just keep the guy on the bench. Like tell him you're not gonna play, but have him at least on the bench, and like maybe the people can like still have a hope of like at least seeing him, maybe see him warm up, because there's a video, Nate, from I think like 10 years ago. He was at Barcelona. Messi came off an injury, and all he did was go run to the corner and go warm up, and the whole place went crazy because it's Messi.
Oh, I saw that video. Yeah,
But no,
it's
it's
nuts.
just that stuff like that just annoys me, and stuff like the NBA or like I don't know if the NHL has players have day offs or anything like that, but baseball is a little bit different because you play every single day, so you're probably going in sometimes expecting a big name to have a day off or something like that. But just to like for the people out there that have spend a lot of money just to get to that stadium, get to the game, whether that's gas or then they get food in a hotel or something, and to not expect them to play and you wait to the last second just to make sure that they have their tickets, they go to the game. I just think that's a little Bush League move, to be honest with you. Look, if you came out a day before and said, Messi's not playing today, he needs rest, like it's fine with having some rest or something, but don't wait to the last second for the fans that are spending money and they don't get to see their guy. I mean, they got to see the legendary Tim Ream of all people, so like there's that, but like no, everyone wants to see Messi. Oh, this back to my Thunder point. I'm driving or my dad's driving to the game, and we find out an hour and a half before the game that 7 of the top scorers for the Thunder are given the night off. Like, then who are they playing? They're playing a G League team. If you're the Pistons, there is nobody from that rotation. Not even Alex Caruso's playing. But no, it just that just ticks me off a little bit, Nate. Is those people that out there that are going expecting to see the star, and he's not playing because he needed rest, and the club waited to the last second.
I feel like this is custom practice for a lot of franchises for one reason and one reason only. And you and I have had many talks about this. And I've told you that, hey, the key to life is follow the money, because it'll give you the answers that you need to know. And for the organization, if they were to tell everybody like, hey, Messi's not here, they're all going to start begging for refunds. They're all going to want their money back because there's a reason why they're there, and that's to see Lionel Messi. And again, that's not to take anything away from anybody else who's competing in the competition, but he's the greatest of all time. I mean, just simply put. And so there is a reason, there is a method to this madness. And I even see it being in a professional realm sometimes. It's true. Like even last year, with Tigers fans and how much they wanted to see someone like Max Clark. every single, there was a certain time during the week that he wasn't allowed, that not that he wasn't allowed, but he wasn't going to be in the lineup. People didn't know unless you were on the inside. You had no idea.
That's
So
why
the organization's
Nate Winkler
not
was
going to.
getting random texts all season long.
Yeah. Where's Max? I came here to see Max. I'm like, he's in the dugout. You can see him. He's on the top step.
His chains are probably the reflection from the sun with the amount of chains he's got on.
Yeah, he'll blind you. No, he'd run out to pick up the bat once in a while, or there's something going on, and then people would cheer. But no, it's that's just the cold hard reality of it. I wish I could say that organizations would change or they would approach it differently, but again, Major League Soccer has made their bed with the way that the league is structured and with the way that it's run. And organizations and franchises want to make the most amount of money, and they all do it in different ways. Mentioning the Tigers, the Illiches are renowned for, they like to do two things, beer and parking. That's how they make their money. You're going to make a lot of money off of parking.
$12 on a
by
12-ounce
God,
Miller Lite.
and you're going to make a lot of money on beer. We're going to get you all in the stadium, and then eventually, when something happens, okay, well, we'll postpone the game. You guys can go home. But they automatically made all this money off of beer and parking. Beer and parking is what keeps the lights on. And so the focus of a lot of these MLS organizations, I'm sure, is, hey, you got to make the money one way or the other. So to say, hey, Messi's not going to play tonight, multiple hours, maybe a day ahead of time, would kind of screw them over financially. But I get it. If anything, just wheel them out there and have them sit on the sidelines. Like, that would be enough for some people to actually just enjoy their time at the game. So I don't know, man.
Which is that's totally true. $12 for a 12-ounce can. That's just,
yeah, man. I mean, if I go to like a Cubs game, like I will this summer, I have to budget. I'm going to budget out like $200 just for the game itself. Cause I realize, like, between the restaurant across the street and the mixed drink being $20, it's like, we're going to get there quickly. So
do you actually spend money at the games? Like, inside the stadium, do you spend money in the games?
I try to spend less now because I realize that that's not the strategy. You got to go in feeling good.
Anything Pistons, like, went to a Pistons game, spent $0. That's not just because I was in a suite. When I went like in the general population of people, I didn't spend $1. Red Wings games, spend $0. Michigan games, I spend $0. The only time you'll ever see me spend money at a sporting event is a Tigers game, and it pains me to say that because I don't like Chris Illich, and I give him money, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry out there, everyone.
Yeah. Yep. But sometimes it necessitates it. I don't know, man. I mean, so it always feels good to get a beer at the game. But you're right. I mean, if it's $13 now, or like I said, mixed drinks at certain stadiums are like $20+ bucks. It's like, it's tough to get behind it. But anyways, let's get into one more quick thing here before we head to break. I know we got to get into hour number 2 in our all sports content here, but anything you want to share about Leonard Prescott and getting the start there? It's one of the craziest stories I've ever heard of. I know I've heard of emergency goaltenders in hockey. I've never heard of, we're so far down the list that we got to start the 16-year-old in another opportunity for an American in a league that, is it out of his league? I don't know, but he's going to get the chance.
So I don't know if he's going to represent America because he's represented the German national teams at the youth level, but he is born in New York. So it's another dual national we got to worry about. But yeah, Manuel Neuer out with a groin injury. Jonas Yerbig, I don't know if I said that wrong or not. I think he's got a concussion. And then Sven Ulrich, he has another muscle injury or something. I don't know what it is. But yeah, Leonard Prescott, 16-year-old, might be making the debut this week. Luckily for him, Bayern does have a 6-1 aggregate lead in the Champions League against Atalanta. So I guess you could throw Harry Kane back in net like he was back in the day for Tottenham. I forget what Europa League game it was, but he went in net to save a PK. But I don't think he saved it. But that's the benefit of having a 5-goal cushion, even if you get scored on. But I will say Bayern Munich is very good defensively. They don't give up anything easily. They won't give up a lot of clear chances. The only difference in this game will most likely be Atlanta throwing the quote unquote kitchen sink at the 16-year-old Leonard Prescott. I mean, it's a crazy achievement if he does get the start. I know we're a couple days away still from that, so something could still change. But they are now in, I would say, emergency mode. They are kind of it's almost code red, I would say at this point, with them, because I mean, 16-year-old starting a Champions League game in goalie, like there's an age, I would say, when it comes to goalies, of like when you kind of hit your prime, and that's always a couple 4-5 years after when normal, like the outfield players hit their prime, and 16 is essentially like you're like 13 or 12 if you're an outfield player. Like that's just what it is. You don't hit your prime until like mid to late 20s. That's just how it works, I guess. Yeah, there's a couple outliers, I'm sure, but you still have so much development in a goalie in a position where there's only one on the field. It's harder to get minutes. It's harder to get It's hard to get games in. So I hope Leonard goes out there, and I mean, he's got the Allianz Arena behind him, so it's not a road game. A lot of things are in his favor actually going into this game. The aggregate itself, you're at home. The Bayern fans are crazy as it is anyway, and you don't have to deal with that as a visitor. So I would hope that he becomes an American goalkeeper. I would hope. But I do think the Chelsea goalkeeper, Slonia, is a better prospect anyway. So I'm fine with him being the starting goalkeeper over Prescott. The only dual national I truly care about up to this point is Noah Kai Banks. I hope he ends up on the team. It doesn't feel like it at this point. I think he's going to go represent Germany. But then there's another dual national that we're going to lose to Germany too. I forgot his name, but he's like 18 or 19. You sent it to me yesterday, but I saw it. I forgot his name. But yeah, no, that's another dual national that we got to battle with Germany. But no, hopefully Leonard Prescott, hopefully you deliver and come up in big moments. But hey, you got everything going your way in terms of everything. All you got to do, show up, make a couple big saves. Don't do what Tottenham did. Do not give the ball to the other team in your own box and let them score 2 goals. Do not do that. Do not get subbed off in the first 25 minutes. As long as you don't do anything silly, it's pretty much like you're fine as long as you don't do anything silly.
To answer your question, Montrell Colbreth is the player in question, the 18-year-old who said Colbreth is certainly, Cull, C-U-L-L, breath. Yeah, cold breath. He's cold. But he said, he's going to play for Germany in the U19s. But he said, you never know. You know, he might represent Team USA. I just think we have a lot of dual nationals that came up in Germany. I feel like that's kind of been the conversation lately, and a lot of them are leaning that direction in playing for the Germans. And I think it's I wouldn't call it a troubling trend per se, but I don't think our youth academies or our youth system, in terms of just USA Soccer in general, is too deep to the point to where these players don't see an opportunity in playing for the USA. Maybe they just think they have a better opportunity of winning at the higher level with Germany. And that's the troubling part. Like, I feel like we should probably get to a point here soon where we're getting these kids to convincing them to play and represent Team USA. I just don't know what the disconnect is there.
I really don't. Like, looking at Germany and the United States, obviously, if we were to go back 10 years ago, I bet you all these prospects come to the United States instead of Germany. I mean, look at Julian Green. Everyone thought this kid was going to be the truth when he was playing for Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Never panned out. Did score a World Cup goal against Belgium in the knockouts, and I thought this kid was going to be insane, but that just wasn't the case. So there's a potential that these guys don't pan out. There's a potential. There's always a potential. But I think if we're looking at it from the United States perspective, and I think you bring up an interesting point about our youth system being very deep, I mean, that's a good testament to the United States development program or development system. Because if we go 10 years ago, I bet you we probably get out of all the German dual nationals, not just because Germany was really good at the time, but I bet you we probably go at those kids a little bit harder. Like we are recruiting them a lot harder than I think we are now. But I think that we are developing a good prospect pool just about year in, year out. I mean, 10 years ago, did we ever have a kid that was, you know what, he's going to play in the MLS for the Philadelphia Union, and then when he turns 18, he is going to one of the, arguably, if not the best academy system in the world in Manchester City? No, we didn't have that. We didn't have that at all. We don't have players starting for Premier League sides week in, week out, outside of Tim Howard, but, like, that's a goalkeeper, different. But, like, we have every single year, or it seems like every single weekend, we have this player does this in this European league, does this in this European league. Oh, he started 17-year-old debuts. Like, we have so many players now and so many options to have for the senior team, maybe
Yeah.
these Germans are like, well, maybe it's a little bit harder to even get into the United States side. And like, look at Yunus Musa. 4 years ago, 5
Yeah.
years ago, he chose between the English and us, and he chose us over England. And he probably thought, yeah, I'm going to start for the next 3 World Cups.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2026, Eunice is on the outside looking in on making the team. So I think now everyone's kind of realizing, like, all right, the U.S. ain't nothing to play with. They have a shot. I'm not saying they have a shot to win the World Cup, but like, they are starting to progress in the way of being a contender for a World Cup. I still don't think we're still not winning the World Cup this year. We still don't win it in 2030. 2034, maybe we can have a conversation, but that's still 8 years away. But
Right.
there's like this kind of sense of everything growing where we don't have to take a German dual national just because. We can grow them our own. I mean, Malik Tillman's a dual nat. Balogun's a dual nat. I mean, Pulisic could have been. Gio Reyna could have been. So, no, like, we got options now. And
I feel like
and
everybody
it's-
is in one way or another a dual nat. Everybody's
Yeah.
got somewhere else they could
true.
potentially play, but just feel like it's been a
Serginho
lot of
Dest, another one.
conversations.
Anthony
of-
Robinson, another one. Both
Yep.
of those guys are dual
Yep.
nationals. They could have easily represented the
Mhm.
Netherlands or England.
Yeah, so it's just an interesting conversation. I feel like just us and Germany, that has been the talk lately with a lot of the prospects we've been talking about. But it could also point to that. I don't want to say that we don't have the depth, because I certainly think we do, and we've seen the positive results from the the U17s and the U20s. That they've had some stinkers. I get it, but I think the overall talent level has certainly risen a lot. So yeah, maybe that is a sign of good things to come for USA Soccer. But when we come back here on the National Soccer Network, we will dive into March Madness. The bracket has been revealed. Everybody's favorite time of year, even when people who don't even follow the sport of basketball fill out a bracket simply because they like a team's colors or their mascot, and they typically end up doing a lot better than everybody else. So we'll talk about that on the other side of this break. First, we're going to tell you, though, about Barca Academy, a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States. Designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18, Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model, the same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30 or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I see my son grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca Camp.
The National Soccer Network presents the MLIS and WMLIS Finals weekend. 8 teams battling for a championship at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Don't miss the excitement March 28th and 29th as the top indoor soccer teams compete for the title. Watch every match live and exclusively on the National Soccer Network.
And we're back in live here on Inside the Game. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky for this one. Ryan, I know we want to talk about March Madness. I wanted to quickly sneak this one in here, though. We can put it up on the screen for the show tomorrow, and then you and I can chat about it. But USA Men's Soccer releasing their 2026
let's not
World
talk about
Cup
that right
kits
now.
today.
Maybe it comes up on Question of the Day later on today, so maybe we don't talk about it right now.
Okay. All right. Anyways, don't forget I said anything there. Let's move on. March Madness tournament bracket released yesterday. That's the topic of conversation we're going to touch right now. Michigan falling in the Big Ten championship game in the tournament. I find it ultimately ironic that the same coach that said this team ain't losing 4 games and claimed that they were the best thing he's seen in all of his years in college basketball got the job done against Michigan in the championship game. Tough look for the Wolverines. I think it's weird. I think it's dumb that Purdue's a number 2 seed. Once again, another year goes by. Another year Purdue is looked at much higher than what I think most people would actually think that Purdue is, especially going into the Big Ten tournament as a 7 seed. How you end up getting a 2 seed, I mean, I get it. You won the championship. But anyways, let's get into this a little bit. Michigan State, also we talk about the group of death for USA Soccer once upon a time. This feels like the region of death for Michigan State this year. But Ryan, your biggest takeaways from what we saw in that one getting released yesterday?
Yeah, I was bringing up these 2 things. I mean, my biggest takeaways, I said this on social media yesterday on Sports Nation, so make sure you drop us a follow there, and I got some pretty good traction on it. I do not understand why the left side of the bracket is so much more difficult than the right side of the bracket. Like, this is the left, the east and the south. If you're the number 1 overall seed in a tournament, you should not be rewarded with this. You're telling me St. John's, who easily could have been a 3 seed, you get them in the 5 seed, and you might play them in the Sweet 16, which I think they will. Or you could play 4 seed Kansas with arguably one of the best player in college basketball, and Darren Peterson, if he doesn't do this every 2 seconds. And then you got Michigan State, who I think is the best number 3 seed in the tournament. And then you get UConn, who I think is the best number 2 team in the tournament. That makes no sense to me at all, because then when I look at the Arizona one, it makes 0 sense on. I forgot. I got to keep making sure I'm by the mic now. I can't just talk all over the place and look wherever with the new setup. But then look at Arizona. Wisconsin, I still don't buy because I think they suck against bad teams. Arkansas, Darius Acuff, I think he's a really good player. Gonzaga, we know about Gonzaga. They always suck. And then Purdue, they always suck too. I would not be surprised if Purdue lost to Miami in the second round. That's all I'm saying. And then we look back over to the Florida side of things. Houston, very solid number 2. Illinois, very solid number 3. Not as tough as I would say the East, but that's a very good region for the South. I think that's 3 very strong. I think Nebraska's a fraud. I think Vanderbilt's actually pretty good too. So I think you could replace Vanderbilt with Nebraska. Then we look back at the Michigan region. Texas Tech has got a bunch of injuries. Alabama doesn't really scare me. You get Miami, Ohio in there. I forgot. Akron, I'm taking to beat Texas Tech. That's not just because of a MAC thing. I think it's just because of the Texas Tech injuries. In Virginia, a new look Virginia than years prior, but I still don't buy them that strong. And Iowa State, they never do anything past the Sweet 16, so that's interesting as well. But like I look at this side, the West and the Midwest, that just I don't know, man. Like that just doesn't look as strong as this side. I feel like the East and the South is 10 times stronger than the right side in the West and the Midwest. And I just don't think, again, I hate Duke, so I don't mind them getting screwed. I don't mind Michigan State getting put in this whole mess either, to be honest with you. Yeah. But just looking at looking at the tournament as a whole, you can't reward the number 1 overall seed with that region. You just can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really tough region, and it's always the hard thing too, because I mean, just the way that they arranged it, I thought was really interesting. I think Michigan State's got a really, really tough road ahead of them. You talked about them probably being the best 3. I would agree. Yeah, Duke's got a really hard road in this one. It's kind of a toss-up, but with
Ohio
Michigan
State's
too.
Not
No,
even
I
a
could
slouch either in the 8-9 game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so the East in general, I just think of all the regions, probably the deepest of which. But you know what? I'm picking Siena over Duke anyways. So that's my number one pick. So what is their mascot anyways? Isn't it like
Sienna?
isn't it
I
like
have
a
no
dog?
idea. Is
or
Cornerstone in this
something?
one, Nate? Cornerstone make the
They're in the plan. I think they gotta play their way in.
And
Maybe
for
I
all
don't
the-
know, somewhere in there.
all the people that were upset that Miami, Ohio should not have gotten in. Well, they weren't even the last 4 in. The commissioner said yesterday that he put them in over Texas, NC State, and SMU. Which, by the way, I did not see an Auburn in there at all, which was pretty nice. But I'm glad that Miami, Ohio still gets some love. I think that they're deserving to get into the tournament. I really do. And honestly, if you have that much of an issue with it, put them in the plan. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really affect an overall game on the Thursday or the Friday. Which, by the way, Thursday we are doing the whole Flint City Forward Madison, brought to you by Irene's Craft Kitchen and Beer Garden. So I'll be missing the whole Thursday for that. So I won't get your reactions. I won't get live reactions from me right away.
Wait, no show Thursday? Is that what you're telling me? No show.
No, I'm saying
no
like
show on
March
Thursday?
Madness. Like, 'cause the games-
March Madness.
Yeah.
Don't
maybe don't put
abandon
your
me
license
over
up
here.
on the
All
screen
right.
either, Nate.
Oh, sorry. All right, my bad.
But no, like I'll be missing the first day, which Michigan obviously plays. But hey, put Miami, Ohio in. Let's see what they do in a play-in, and go from there. But I will say this too. I haven't mentioned it yet. Is this going to be the year the Big Ten wins a national championship? It has been 26 years since the Big Ten has won a national championship. They've had in that time span, they have sent the most teams to the NCAA tournament than any other conference. The Big East has won 4. Obviously, that's UConn. But that's just absurd that a conference of this stature, of this level, that has gone 26 years. 26 years. I wasn't even born yet without a national championship. That's why I still love the flex, though, to Michigan State fans, because you haven't won a national championship since 26 years yet. You're a blue blood all of a sudden. But is this the year? Michigan, if you were to go by the numbers, we can break this down tomorrow. If like the numbers of history telling us Michigan is one of the 3 teams that could win a national championship based on everything in terms of the weeks or the AP poll week 6 rankings. You got to be inside the top 12, the Ken Palm numbers, all that stuff. Michigan is one of the 3 teams that could do it. I know that numbers and paper don't explain everything, but they're one of the 3 teams that fit the historic measurement in the standards. And Illinois was one of them, so that's still a really good team. Michigan State, I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan State loses first weekend. They're just not playing that well. But Purdue, another 2 seed. Like, when are they going to get it done? Because at some point, the Big Ten's got to win a national championship. They just do. Like, there's got to be some sort of pressure on the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't claim to be one of the best conferences in the country and not have a national championship in the last 2.5 decades.
Indiana's got a football national championship. You're telling me we can't win a basketball national championship?
No. That's fair. Okay, all right. I didn't know where you were going with that, but yes, no,
I
absolutely.
thought I was going to say something bad about Indiana. There's probably a good chance it would have been bad.
By the way, speaking of my ID, I didn't mean to flash that, but I got to show you this picture because I got a new advanced ID. Not on the screen, but at some point when I get the chance, got a new advanced ID, and I didn't smile in time, so I was like halfway through smiling, so that's why I was looking at it because it's kind of cracking me up right now. Anyways, not going to be proud to show anybody that if I ever have to. So, but anyways, moving on. No, you have to win. You have to win a championship in order to get that level of respect. And I do think we're a better basketball conference than a lot of other conferences in America. There might be one ahead of us, but I still think the Big Ten has a lot of great teams. They beat up on each other all the time. But Michigan's been there a couple of times. They haven't gotten the job done. Michigan State has gotten ridiculously close. I mean, that year that they beat that Duke team with Zion and RJ Barrett and still couldn't get it done. Izzo has been plagued since that 2000 national championship. So, which ironically enough is the last one the Big Ten has. So, if anything, I guess Michigan State fans have that to say. But you know, you have to win a national title, and I felt the same about football. And not necessarily win a national title, but someone else outside of maybe just Ohio State winning national titles. You know what I mean? Like you have one team that kind of, ran the conference for forever. Can you find a way to maybe, get a Michigan to win a national championship or an Indiana? And so now that we have 3 different teams, we're like, we can comfortably say that we are better than the SEC in this moment. Historically speaking, no. But in this moment, absolutely. Yes, we are better than the SEC. So it's going to take the Big Ten actually winning a title to be like, yeah, we're better than the ACC. We're better than the SEC in this moment. And so I think it's really important, whoever it is. It's going to be Michigan State, could be Michigan, could be anybody. But yeah, for conference prestige and certainly for people who want to make arguments that the Big Ten is the best, it starts with winning a national title. And there are a lot of different teams that could certainly go on a run in this one. I mean, Michigan, truth is, and you're going to probably not like me for saying this, but there's a method behind my madness. I was kind of half hoping that they didn't win yesterday. And for one reason alone. Sometimes a push can be a shove. And for a team that's done nothing more than dog walk every team they've played this year, maybe that's a good thing going into the NCAA tournament.
I don't disagree with you.
Maybe that would light a fire under this team a little bit. You know what I mean? Because conference tournament championships, whatever. What does that matter to me? What matters the most is a national championship. And this is a national championship level team. So if it takes losing to Matt Painter to get you into that mental state going into the tournament to go take over, well, call me crazy, but I'm kind of okay with it.
They said yesterday, I mean, all of the players in the locker room were pissed because they said before the season they have 4 nets to cut down. 1 in the Big Ten regular season, 1 in the Big Ten tournament, and then the regional to get to the Final Four. You cut down those nets, and then the national championship, and they didn't get one of the goals. They've cut down 1.
Yeah.
The nets at Chrysler. But from here on out, you got it's single elimination, and hopefully they can cut down nets. But they all said in the press conference yesterday, they said, we got punked yesterday, and that is never happening again. It's almost like it's almost, I don't want to say it, but I do at the same time because, again, with everything that's happened after the fact, it still makes this game hilarious to me. It's like 2024 Ohio State. They get punked in the mouth by Michigan football, a team that could not throw the forward pass. The team that could not throw a forward pass.
Yeah.
And they beat them. They beat the national champs, Ohio State. So, again, I'm not saying 2026 Purdue is 2024 Michigan football. That's an extreme take. But what I'm saying is Michigan said they got punched in the mouth, they got punked down low, and they said that's what they hang their hat on, is being physical and dominating the paint. And like the eyes that they all the looks in their eyes yesterday, just again, they're just take it for what it is. It's just Twitter, and you're just looking at, guys just interviewing them and posting it on Twitter. Take it as it is. But you can tell, like, they were ticked. Like, they were pissed at everything.
Yeah.
And even them coming off the floor, like, you could just tell they were angry. And, I mean, they didn't have a great tournament at all, to be honest with you, Nate. They looked bad in every single game. And they found ways to win in 2 of them. They didn't yesterday. Should there have been a couple foul-outs? I would agree on Purdue. Would I say a couple fouls may have gotten out of the way or that weren't called? I'd agree with that statement. But you know what? Michigan, you got to get out there and get it done. And they couldn't defend the pick and roll, which they've done so well all year long. And I think you're right. Sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth before you can really kind of hit your goal and get to the summit. And I think you're right, though. I think that's a good loss. I mean, not any loss is good, but that is a good loss, I guess. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hang a banner.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And that's the thing. It sounds weird coming from a fan to be like, yeah, well, I want my team to lose in a championship game, right? Because I'm doing the gold game yesterday, and it's at the same exact time, it was amazing to me that we had the biggest crowd, the gold did, of the entire season. It happened to be directly during the Michigan championship game. But that's why modern technology is nice, because I can't tell you how many times I've watched one game on my phone while another game's going on in front of me. Like, I was at Ford Field for the 22 Michigan-Ohio State game. I was watching the high school national championship, state championships, and streaming it. So, but anyways, it was still a sellout.
It's a great game. Donovan Edwards is still running.
He's still running. Yep, to this day. But I want to see my team win, obviously. But it did kind of have that feel, even in that game against Wisconsin, like, man, like they did everything they could to come back and win that game. We just needed one shot at the end, and the Big Ten Player of the Year came through. And honestly, you're going to win games that way, and you're going to have games in the tournament where you're going to have to fight it out and grind it out. But you know the other thing that scares the hell out of me, Ryan? One of those teams that we could potentially play to open up the tournament? University of Maryland, Baltimore County. That freaks
Yeah,
me
it's
the hell
scary.
out, man. I
Did
don't
you
like
know-
that.
Did you know the UMBC coach that beat Virginia, is now the Virginia
Mm-mm.
head coach? Did you know that?
There's no way.
Yeah, that's what my friend told me this morning, or told me the other day, and I searched it up.
Why do I not know this lore? I feel bad not knowing this lore. This is when people are like, "You're the sports guy, you should know this," and I'm like, "Wow, no,
Yeah.
you're right. You're absolutely right. That's crazy."
Like,
Well, I guess
yeah, I created the biggest upset in your school's history. But I'm going to become your head coach in a couple of years, so it's all good. But don't worry, I basically
man.
got you guys a national championship because I beat you in 2018, and then 2019 you guys went on and won the Natty. So he's basically like, yeah, you guys are fine. Without that loss, you guys don't win the
Virginia-
national championship.
Virginia essentially said, "If you can't beat them, join them," and so they brought him on to be their new head coach. That's awesome, man. Yeah, UMBC freaks me out just for history tends to repeat itself sometimes. I don't want to put that
They
out in
could
the
play
atmosphere,
Howard.
but they could play Howard. Howard freaks me out. Is Howard a person or a team? Who knows? We'll find out coming up in March Madness. Coming up next on our number 2 here on Inside the Game. Let's talk a little bit of World Baseball Classic. We're going to talk about I thought the Dominican Republic got screwed yesterday. I'm happy to see the U.S. move on, but yeah, we need automatic ball strike now in baseball. We'll talk more about that on the other side. But first, Man City Soccer Camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, these camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30. Scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com. And we're back in on Inside the Game here, rolling along in hour number 2 here on the National Soccer Network. Got to give a quick shout out to our friends over at the Grand Rapids Gold. Actually got number 2 on Sports Center Top 10 this morning for a 60-footer in yesterday's game. So that's pretty cool. Shout out Dan Hasty, my broadcast partner, for getting on that one. But moving on, talking a little bit about the World Baseball Classic after the Olympics, transitioning immediately into the WBC. And, I know certain people are not as invested maybe in the tournament, but what I can say, my esteemed partner in Ryan Glinsky, certainly being one of them, is that there are certain countries that live, breathe, and die this tournament, mostly because they live, breathe, and die baseball. You think of the Dominican, you think of Puerto Rico, you think of Cuba. These are places in which you're born with a bat in your hand. And you just grow up playing it, either a bat or a soccer ball. Like, it could be either one of those two, but more often than not, it's a bat. And so when you see these fan bases and when you see them go crazy, it's a lot like the international game when it comes to soccer. Like, they're just that much more passionate than the American fans. And so it means a lot. And the Dominican Republic had a stacked lineup. And yesterday, the reason why, and you asked me earlier, like, why do I like the World Baseball Classic? The reason why is because of the matchups. It rarely has to do with the countries themselves. It has everything to do with matchups that you don't normally see every single day. And that's, Judge and Schwarber and Harper all being in the same lineup. It's Paul Skeens going up against an absolute gauntlet of a team in the Dominican Republic and only giving up 1 run in that game through his start. Paul Skeens is the best pitching prospect of our generation. Anybody who doesn't see that is just simply blind. And he did a great job. I thought he showed out yesterday. Didn't rack up a ton of strikeouts, but he was effective. Better than Tarek Skubal. I mean, I don't know. They both gave up a run. So I don't know. I thought Scooby looked pretty good in the 55 that he threw. But what I'll say is this. Yeah, the emotions overtaking him. The DR got screwed. It's hard for me to say this because I have loved nothing more in the sporting scene recently than to watch what any Team USA has done. In hockey, since 2015 in gold medal competitions against Canada, our hockey teams from Paralympics to women's to men's are 6-0 from the World Games in 25 to the Winter Olympics in 26. Obviously we beat them in soccer. We've beat them in everything that I could imagine over the last month or so. And that includes with baseball beating Canada. But then we advanced to this game against the Dominican Republic. And again, close ball game, competitive ball game. But that last pitch at the end, guys, that wasn't a strike. I know I'm an American. I know I want to see this team succeed. I believe we're the best baseball playing country in the world. And I love proving that time and time again. I love seeing the U.S. put their stamp on games. But if you go back and you watch that last one, that's not a strike. And it's not even close. And normally, if this was like a 6-1, 7-1 game and the Dominican had 2 outs in the 9th and maybe 1 guy on, okay, you know what? You can't blame a ball or a strike in that situation for, hey, this is the reason why we lost the game. That's the reason why they lost the game yesterday. And this is the thing about baseball, and I know it's scary when we start automating everything, but the reason why I think the ABS system is so important is because that strike zone is everything in this game, and we saw that yesterday. I mean, they had a guy on third. They're down 1, and that would have been, I believe it would have been a walk. I think it was a 3-2 count, if I'm not mistaken. So now you get another guy on, and now the game completely changes. And so the reason why I think it's important is because that zone, more than replay review, when it comes to like tags or outs or anything else like that, the zone is the most important thing in this game and figuring that out. And umpires are going to make mistakes, obviously. I don't think you completely replace umpires with robots, but I certainly think they need the assistance of having that there or being able to somehow be able to go back and look at that. Because if Jack Hughes on that one-timer ends up spraying one 4 inches wide of the post, they're not going to rule it a goal. You know what I mean? Like, you actually have to get it in between the pipes and put it in the back of the net. But baseball is one of the only sports on earth where some of these things, there's a gray area. There's nuance there. And you just don't know because it comes down to a decision by an umpire who believes what he saw. And to that point, it split the plate. But was it too damn low? Yes, it was. Absolutely too damn low. And you might be thinking, Nate, this is ridiculous to hang your hat on one call in that game. Okay, fine. And I realize the Dominican Republic could have done more to help themselves out offensively, right? Like, it's the same conversation about how when we talk about the Tigers against Seattle, like, if we could just hit the ball, we probably would have been okay. But one call like that can completely change everything. And for the Dominican to go out of the World Baseball Classic because of a sinker that very much missed the zone, yeah, we can't decide a game on that. We got to come up with a more efficient way of in whatever the ABS system looks like, but we need to make that the standard in baseball at the professional level. Now, college, high school, whatever. I mean, if Jimmy ends up striking out on a breaking ball at, Caledonia High School,
Damn.
I could give a shit less.
Wow.
Yeah, terrible, horrible. Yeah, Jimmy's
Horrible
parents
for
think,
Jimmy, man. Give Jimmy some
Jimmy's
love.
Jimmy's parents think he's going to the Brewers. So,
So-
I hope there's not a Jimmy on Caledonia's team who's watching this right now. Like, me? Why am I getting
It's like-
strays?
It's like Jesse listening to Jesse's girl for the first time. He's like, "What? You talking about my girl like that?"
What's going
Anyway,
on?
we missed a couple comments in here. Shrek got in here and says, "Ryan, I'm back. A little late this time. LOL." I asked him, does
What up,
Texas
Shocky?
beat- I asked him if the Texas beats NC State. He goes, "In basketball, I doubt it. Honestly, amazed that they even made it as an 11. Thought they'd be a 16 with Miami, Ohio." But back to your baseball point, he says, "Yes, the Dominican Republic got screwed. However, the plate ump had been calling a low zone the entire game."
Yeah, that's true. And you do have to notice trends. And honestly, when the game's on the line, if it's close enough, you got to swing. Like unfortunately that's what the game
That's
is.
what I was
If
going
it's
to
close,
ask
you
you.
got to
That's
protect.
what I was going to ask you. I was like,
Yeah.
at that point, do you take anywhere in and around the zone? You kind of got to swing.
You got to protect. And so I get it, but it's also like the same thing of like, they say in basketball, like the ref sometimes will call the foul if the ball doesn't go in. If it does go in, they won't call it. I think that's BS. I'm like, if it's a foul, it's a foul. Like, why does it matter if the ball goes in or not? I get it, pace of play. I understand that. But it's like, this is the thing where it's like, I get that the human element has been a part of the game for so long, but I don't think we should be scared to introduce something that's going to help us figure this out a little bit more, just simply because I did think they got screwed. But you're right. No, Shrocky, that the adage is if it's in and around the zone with 2 strikes, you got to swing. You have to simply swing.
I'd say, F it. Survive in advance. We move on. Move on to the finals. Who cares? To be honest with you, I wasn't even really watching the game yesterday. I have not. The only game I somewhat watched was Japan, the robots, because I wanted to see the robots in action. And they were like, and I think it was the 8th inning. I was like, dude, no way they're losing to Venezuela. And I was like, I kind of got to watch it now. I picked up in the top of the 8, so I watched the final 2 innings. Because I don't mind Shohei Ohtani losing, because I don't like Shohei, to be honest with you, Nate, because of the whole gambling thing. Like, yeah, I didn't know my interpreter was gambling $400 million. I didn't know. How do you not know, Shohei? It's your money. How do you not know the guy's gambling your own money? How do you not know?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like Shohei. But I just wanted to see the robots lose, because like, I didn't mind it. But outside of that, I haven't watched a single thing. I never watched them. I watched at the bar, I watched the opening pitch from Tarek School, which I found hilarious that he gave up a nuke to Great Britain. Gosh, I found it funny.
That's funny.
And then didn't watch Italy. Didn't watch, I don't know who they played in the quarters. The US,
Team New York and New Jersey, in other words.
Yeah, which, by the way, where's Austin Wells from?
Where is he from?
Because there is no way he's from the Dominican. That is the whitest name I've ever heard.
Scottsdale, Arizona. However, maybe his mom is Dominican.
Okay.
Because obviously dad is not Dominican with a last name like Wells. That sounds more like an Englishman than anything else. But now maybe mom's Dominican. I'm probably going to go with.
I'm just telling
that's
you.
the
There's
answer.
no way that guy's from the Dominican. There's just no way.
Yeah.
It's like
It's just funny because
It's like Kylian Mbappe is French. You're telling me Kylian Mbappe is French. You're telling me N'Golo Kante is French. You're telling me that. Anyway, especially with a full count and a championship game on the line. If you think about it, the pro zone is way smaller than it looks on TV. So where the slider missed on that pitch is enough to wave at.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, and Shrocky's an ump, so Shrocky's going to go to bat for the umpire in this situation because he probably has a little bit of empathy for the guy.
Nate.
So
why are we complaining? We benefited.
We did benefit. I'm just saying, man. Like,
so
I feel for the guys a little bit.
Question for the baseball elite that's in the chat and on the show. Is the World Baseball Classic like? Is this the shit? Like, is this awesome? Like. I don't know. I don't watch it. So
does it level up to the World Cup? No, just because baseball isn't
compare
as
this
widely
to the
played.
U.S. Hockey Olympics. Does this compare?
No, and no, because we know what the U.S. is in baseball. Like even half the other teams, they're all guys that were born in the U.S. Like truthfully, if if we like every single guy we have is a Hall of Famer. Like we are the Canada of baseball. I feel like, well, maybe Japan, but it's us too, right? Like there's a reason why they put them on opposite sides of the bracket because they wanted to see them meet up in the finals. Obviously, you want the U.S. and Japan. Now, shout out Venezuela for bouncing them out of it. But
Surprised Miguel
no,
Cabrera wasn't playing.
He's
Thought
he's
he'd be playing
he's
for
probably not in
Venezuela.
any shape. Yeah, he's not in any shape to be playing.
he's
He certainly
fine.
wasn't at the end of his Tigers career. That big old
No,
belly
he's
of
probably
his.
fat now.
But yeah, but no, I know what we are in baseball. Hockey meant a little bit more because it had been 46 years. I mean, we always talk about the miracle, but it's like we hadn't done shit since the miracle. Like as much as I hate Sid from Toronto talking Jay about us, he had a point. I just thought he was coping a little bit. That's why I didn't really, buy into all that. But
Schrock said he's torn as a former ump and pitcher and catcher. LOL. But he also said it's second to the Olympics. I mean, isn't baseball coming to the Olympics in 2028?
yes, it is. Yep,
So instead of an All-Star break, we're going to do the Olympics.
I believe so. Well,
Or is this
I
gonna be
think some
college
teams
kids?
qualified. I think teams qualified for the Olympics.
If you
in the World
finish in the
Baseball
top
Classic.
four, I saw if you finish in the semifinals, you qualify for the Olympics no matter what.
That's awesome.
So-
oh, okay. All right.
So the U.S., Dominican,
Yeah.
Venezuela, and Italy are then all in the they're all in the Olympics for sure. Japan, well, look at
Wow.
that. Japan's not yet. How about that?
They'll find a way. Ain't no way you're leaving Japan off the table in
So
the Olympics.
So is it
No
gonna be
way.
college kids or is it gonna be MLB kids or guys? I shouldn't say kids. They're all like 35.
I mean, some of them are kids. It's gonna be MLB. I thought it was MLB guys last time. The last Olympics we had was major league players. I don't know. I
so
could
we're
be
gonna
wrong.
get rid of the All-Star
They get
break?
all-
'Cause I'm fine if that's the case.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it all comes down to Rob Manfred, which don't hold your breath. Who knows? So
he probably ain't
yeah,
gonna do nothing.
he's a
not gonna
he's a
do anything.
jackass, man. Yeah, he banned espresso shots in the dugout for Italy.
What?
So if that tells you anything about the fun killer Rob Manfred
Why?
is, yeah, he said it was becoming too much. Apparently, it's like a
espresso.
performance enhancer. Pfft.
Are they?
people had troubles with people didn't like the fact that Miami was taking coffee shots before they the Kappa, what is it called, the traditional Cuban coffee, Capacito. They were drinking Capacito before they went on the field, and people were like, "That's a performance enhancer." I'm like,
like the
No, it's
Canes?
not.
Like the U?
"Yeah, like the Miami Hurricanes."
So that's why they beat Ole
Yeah.
Miss.
Yeah, because they drank Capacito beforehand, so it's essentially like
That's-
cocaine, but yeah. Right. No, Rob Manfred is nobody likes that guy. Absolutely nobody. No one likes a commissioner, but generally speaking, no one likes that dude.
Or
He's
who's
hard to
the
stomach.
Beckman? Isn't that the NHL guy?
Yeah. I don't
No
know
one
enough
likes him.
about him, but
Funny story about Beckman.
yeah.
So working along Terry Foster for a couple of months, man, if you want just some lore on Detroit sports, have a beer with Terry Foster and he'll tell you everything. Like I was learning stuff about the Bad Boys I never even knew existed. But this
I'm
one,
sure.
this one goes back to Beckman, and he said it on social media a long time ago, so it's okay. He said that back when, hold on, people actually have additional energy for longer than 5 minutes on any type of coffee. I need to know their secret. From Schrock. Take
Yeah, some
espresso
people don't
shots.
have tolerances, I suppose. I have a tolerance, so this shit doesn't hit me quite the same, but go ahead.
But what Terry was saying is he was, in the arena in the Joe for 97 and was talking with Beckman, like just like you and me, just kind of just happened to come across each other and just wanted to talk to him real quick for a little bit, kind of get some insider information. And Terry's like, well, how great is it for a Big Six or an Original Six team? Sorry, Soccer Talk still talking. Original Six team of winning the Stanley Cup for the first time, all this, and Beckman's like, it's great or anything, and then Terry was like, so what about a potential dynasty? What's your thoughts on that? And he said Beckman turned white as a ghost because he heard the Red Wings and dynasty in the same sentence. He wanted nothing to do with the Red Wings having a dynasty. Absolutely hated it. Like he was like, yeah, they'll win one here and there. That's fine. But dynasty, no way in hell they get a dynasty. Like
Mhm.
Terry said he looked like he saw a ghost when he asked that question. And so
Yeah.
to say there's a reason why the Red Wings haven't ever gotten, and I think the only one time in their history they ever did well in the lottery, outside like in terms of where they were projected to be, they've only been better one time in their history, I think is what it is. Maybe that's a reason.
Yep. Well, and I mean, don't they have the longest playoff streak of all time?
They did,
like
but they've
20,
also haven't made the playoffs
25
for
years or
11
something?
years, 10 years.
Isn't that
So,
crazy? Isn't that wild? Yeah. So who knows, man? I hope we don't fall down the stairs. Dallas looked ugly. I was watching that on Saturday while everybody was stumbling around me all drunk around the bar and whatnot. I was actually half watching Dallas. At least we got into overtime, got a point out of it, but only because Dallas had the worst own goal of all time. So I guess that kind of helped
it's
us
the
out.
March
but-
collapse.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, I wanted to quickly shout out one particular person as it pertains to the World Baseball Classic. He was a Whitecaps pitcher from just last year. He actually got traded to Baltimore. Micah Ashman in Canada v. the U.S. I know we didn't get to chat about that because it was, I don't know if it was back on Friday. I forget when it was, but it was certainly after we were done talking. But pitched for the Caps last year, got traded. But once a cap, always a cap. But 2 1/3 innings pitched in that game. 1 hit, no runs, 2 strikeouts. One of those strikeouts being Cal Raleigh of all people. So I think he went through the lineup a couple of times and ended up shutting out Hall of Famers for 2 1/3. So that's
And
pretty
this is
freaking
a
cool. So
Canadian
shout out.
player.
Yeah. Well, he was born
I
in
wanted
Utah,
to know
but I think he has Canadian
March
roots.
16th at 10:45 a.m. Nate Wingler said something good about Canada.
He was born in Utah, but I don't. He must have Canadian roots. So yeah.
Gosh.
So
Man,
yes,
we're
said
just
something nice about
fielding all the
Canadian.
baseball teams outside of Venezuela, Japan, and Dominican. Just fielding them all out there.
Oh man, but yeah, again, that final coming up. The U.S. only has 1 championship, the World Baseball Classic. Japan leads the way with 3, so the U.S. could get their
And they ain't
second.
winning a fourth.
Yeah, exactly. But let's take a break here on Inside the Game. We come back. Let's address some of the comments we got on some of the videos. I know you get a lot of comments on your videos. And then we'll kind of transition that into our question of the day that I may or may not have spoiled earlier in the show. Hopefully you guys don't remember that, but we'll talk about all that and more coming up next. Final segment on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill that came like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today. Experience the thrill that came like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
And we're back in live inside the game, final segment here today on this Monday, episode 250. I know we didn't plan out anything special for this one, but pretty cool. 250 episodes, halfway to 500. Who knows how many we're going to end up doing on this one, but I know we've come a long way from episode number 1. We should just for the sake of maybe some laughs and some giggles, maybe go back and play episode 1 one of these days, or maybe a part of episode 1 to just show people how far we've come in.
If there's a day none of us can make the show and we just don't have a show, we'll tell John, hey, can you just air episode number 1 of Inside the Game?
Number 1.
And just
the
see
pilot.
what happens. And they're talking, what do you mean they're talking about something from 2020, was it 2025?
What the hell?
What do you mean?
Yeah, it was last
The
year.
U.S.
Yeah,
just lost to Panama in soccer? When that happened?
What happened? Oh, man. But let's get into some comments here before we tackle question of the day.
Oh, I'm reading them? Okay. Let's see.
Oh, I can read them too. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't even think about that.
You're pretty adamant in doing them, so I thought you had them all pulled up. But yeah, I can find some.
Fair. Might think I was winding
Yeah,
up for
shout
it.
out to everyone on the Sports Nation TikTok. Guys, we're liking the thing I just mentioned, the bracket video that I mentioned not too long ago. They said, let's see, Ohio State can take out Duke. That is from T Sims. Yeah, I could see that actually happening. This is my favorite one from Tim Talk 5022. You should wear your MSU jersey when you make these videos. It keeps it cleaner for everyone watching. Look, I despise MSU. If you scroll back to a couple of videos, it'll tell you exactly what I think about MSU. Let's see what else we got.
Shocked to think you have an MSU bias. How do you even come to that conclusion?
Of all the videos I've made, I would say I probably have the most hate from Indiana fans, MSU fans, and Minnesota United fans.
My man has said Tom Izzo is the equivalent of Swiss cheese. Like he is as far from an MSU fan as possible. So I just yeah.
This one from Farmer B. I kind of like it. No cakewalk for Duke. Yeah, there's 4 or 5 teams that could legitimately win this bracket. And I responded with, yeah, but that's the reward the number 1 overall seed gets. Then he goes, I feel you, bro. I'm a Michigan fan, so I'm cool with it.
yeah. At least he's willing to acknowledge the bias there.
St. John's wins their conference and has to go to California. Well, when you're not the 1 seed, you don't really get to pick and choose where you're. When you're not the 1 and 2 seed, you don't really get to choose where you're going in terms of all that.
Yep.
Which, by the way, shout out Michigan not playing at 11 p.m. on a Thursday. Shout out that, because I'm glad that doesn't happen at all. This one was about, I made it early in the morning about what I wanted to see from Selection Sunday. This coming from Gavin. If Auburn gets in, the committee needs to be fired. Auburn did not get in at all. I want to. This one coming from Connor. I hope Texas does not get into the tournament. Wonder if Schrock's still on the show. But hopefully that did not make his way over to him. But he does not want Texas in at all. This one I said Canada is little brother to USA. Let's see. This coming from Sam L.
Probably got some good ones.
About to be 5 in the Paralympics. That is true. That did happen.
Yep.
This one coming from Skippy, calling SGA a horrible basketball player is crazy. I don't like foul baiting. That's basically why. This one just sucks, because Jack just had to get all logical with everything. They're a way smaller country population-wise. Why is this a flex? That's not the reason why this is a flex. The flex is we beat them in their main sport, and they got pissed off. That's the main reason why it's a flex.
Yep. Yeah,
But,
and talking about population size, like, oh, that's why you're better than us. No.
Then India should be good at every single sport.
No.
And China should be good at every single sport.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly. So,
All
country
right.
population is not an indicator. But anyways, let's get into question of the day.
Question of the day presented by Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off. Visit saltathletic.com today or scan the QR code on your screen to get the #1 smell-proof cleat bag that 100% works. If you want a chance to win one for free, head over to Instagram, comment #NSN Salt giveaway, drop us a follow at NatSoccerTV. I still got to make a video on this and comment a friend. But anyway, because Nate just has to jump the gun on a lot of things on the show when it comes to question of the day. Thoughts on this is only one of them. So as I was making this The second one was not out, but I do have it out now.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the U.S. men's national
Right.
team World Cup kits? I think they're fire. I think they're really sick. I mean, you could probably get away with the stars, like kind of the faded stars on the blue one. But like other than that,
Yeah.
this is like night and day between 2022. Like the 2022 jerseys sucked ass. They were horrible. And these two massive upgrades to what it is. Mind you, next week we will have a we'll do a ranking. We'll do a ranking of the World Cup kits. What we think is trash, what we thought was bad. We'll go through all of them because Nike's one day, Adidas is one day, and Puma is one day. So then we'll just go over them all, and then we'll rank them, and then maybe at the end we'll like top 10 kits out of them all. So, but no, this is the U.S.
That's
strong
awesome.
start. I won't lie, strong start.
I do like it. The reason why I like the stripe pattern, I warmed up to it, is because in '94, if you remember, the uniforms that the U.S. men's national team wore for their first opening game, the one that was played in Michigan, was the vertical stripe uniforms. And so we kind of brought the stripes back, but now we're doing the horizontal stripes. So I like the look to it. I personally prefer the solid blue one more with the faded stars. I think it's a really clean look. I think I like the patch. I like obviously the Nike swoosh. It's easy on the eyes. I think that's really cool. I don't mind the stripes. But I think if there's one kit, I mean, I would certainly buy that other blue one. So I don't know if they're already on sale or out on the market or anything, but I definitely got to snag that one. But I'm assuming like the stripes will be considered like I don't know, are there home and away kits?
That's the home.
I
I
guess
think that's the home kit.
Yeah, it's the home kit. Okay, so the solid blue
But
will be
I like the Where's
the road
Waldo
kits.
I won't lie.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to be hard to spot them, but yes, for the most part. So, no, I agree. I was a little skeptical of it. I didn't hate the 22 World Cup kits. It seemed like everybody did, minus me. I'm on an island. On an island by myself. I just like I like basic designs, I guess. But I like that they kind of
nothing at all. It was the crest and a white T-shirt. It's basically what it was. I could have designed the thing. To be honest, all 2022 kits were horrible. All of them were trash. The only one that was somewhat decent, well, obviously the Argentina one is always iconic. The Brazil one is always iconic because they're iconic, because they're respectable. Same with Uruguay. It's the same thing. It's all a thing.
Yep.
So Shrock finally responded to one of the comments. He said, honestly, Texas won't be in for long, but do you have anything to say about Texas baseball? We got problems. So I responded with Texas baseball is buns. And he says, if I had a leather glove, I would start a duel right now. Texas baseball is buns, Shrock. I don't even know anything
they're
about Texas
terrible,
baseball,
Luke.
They're just trash.
They suck.
Is that like fighting words right
down,
there?
buddy.
Is that fighting words right there?
Yeah, take that one, Shrocky. Yeah.
Arch Manning's not the truth.
Woo! Hey, but Peyton
he did
Manning,
beat Michigan. He did beat Michigan. I'll give him that. But to be fair, everyone could have beat Michigan with a pulse. Anyone who had a pulse could have beat Michigan.
Is it Peyton or Eli's son that's coming
Cooper.
up right now? Isn't there like one of the Cooper? Yeah.
Peyton
he
Manning's
might be
kid
pretty
is
good.
actually. I just saw a video of him yesterday. He's in the class of 2030. Marshall, I think.
Okay.
Marshall Manning. So there's another one. Don't you worry.
Peyton had a kid late then, man. He must have been a little bit older, but
Well, yeah,
anyways,
bro was playing football a lot longer.
I guess he was probably a little busy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
a little preoccupied.
14-year-old son Marshall shows off rocket arm by throwing pinpoint touchdown. Yeah, this kid's the truth.
Oh,
all
Marshall.
right.
Marshall. All right. Well, I trust the son of the guy who's won a Super Bowl, maybe or a couple of Super Bowls over
but at the same time,
over the brother who never made it.
Arch had his uncles. It's not like he was cut off from the family. He still had two
I get it. I
Super
get
Bowl
it.
quarterback uncles and a grandfather that played in the NFL. So
genetics. Genetics. Yeah, I'll give you that.
We can't pull that card out because they're his uncles still, and I'm sure they were close. I'm sure he was a text message away.
Mm-hmm. But that wraps up episode 250 here of Inside the Game. Listen, we appreciate you guys. Anyone who's been with us from the beginning.
Okay.
I don't know if we have any loyal listeners from number one.
Just because we have less controversies than Michigan doesn't mean we suck. All right, Shrock. When was the last time you won a national championship? I'll wait. When was
See,
the last
I
time you
didn't
won
rage
Natty?
bait Ryan. I didn't rage bait Ryan today. We got Schrock rage baiting Ryan.
2006?
Can you imagine if we got
2005? I don't remember. I don't remember when it was. Great game, by the way.
stay in your lane?
I wish I was able to watch that thing live because that looked like an unbelievable game. But hey, how well did Vince Young do in the NFL?
Oh,
Probably as good as JJ McCarthy.
I gotta
I'll tell you
go-
that.
oh man, that wraps up 250. We gotta
Dang.
go, man. Let's Schrock, get back on the show tomorrow, and then you can rage bait Ryan, and we'll have some fun for a couple hours. How about that? But
I'm
that
down.
wraps up
I'm
250. Ryan Glinsky, myself. We'll chat with you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. here on Inside the Game.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.